Linux Migration Guide, Part 5. In this part of the Linux Migration Guide, we are going to take a look at some amazing free and open source software replacements for proprietary software, which, as many of you know, is not available on Linux in most cases. So to make do without this, you need a free equivalent that basically does the same thing as the proprietary application, and when switching to Linux, it's much better to use Linux native applications than sending yourself through the hassle of installing Wine or VirtualBox to run a Windows environment to run your Windows-specific software, and for Mac software. There is no way you can run any of that on Linux, so if you want to use Linux as your daily driver, you'll have to say goodbye to some of that pricey software, and convert to using free stuff instead. The best part is, there is a plethora of free and open source software for Linux, such as Audacity, Blender, GIMP, eSpeak, VirtualBox, VLC Media Player, LMMS, etc. Many browsers, office suites, media players, audio editors, video editors, VPNs, email clients, document viewers, amongst other software exist on Linux, so even if you cannot have that beloved Microsoft Office or Adobe Photoshop, I am sure you can make do without it. Are you really using the advanced features those applications have? Do you rely on them? If you answer no to one or both questions, you can make do without that software, and GIMP is pretty similar in look and feel to Photoshop, so the transition won't be a massive headache, hopefully. LibreOffice is the perfect replacement for Microsoft Office. It has great compatibility with MS Office file types, is great for writing a basic document or creating basic spreadsheets and presentations, comes pre-installed with pretty much all Linux distros out there, and it's very easy to use and looks similar to Microsoft Office, so the user should be able to convert to this amazing free equivalent, because it does everything Office does, maybe lacks a few more advanced features, but once again, are you really going to need them or heavily rely on them? Most likely not if you're a home user, so you can make do without it. Gaming on Linux is a way harder topic to discuss, because I don't do it much myself, and I haven't heard great positivity surrounding this area in the world of Linux. However, many kids' games and fairly basic ones can be downloaded free of cost from your distribution's software manager. And a few gaming clients like Valve's Steam client and the retro-like Lutris are some amazing bits of software for those of you who love to game on a PC, but the only problem is, a hefty chunk of big-name titles do not work on Linux, although more games are supporting it from what I hear, but the games you will likely find are not going to be AAA ones or real demanding intensive ones. You could be more likely to come across more basic games like Terraria, for example, or a tank shooting game, because the market is targeted at Windows. Even Mac sucks when it comes to gaming, so all I can say is this: do not be surprised to see your favorite title not work on Linux, but please do not worry, because there are a number of solutions you can use, one of which is ProtonDB, a layer to run Windows games directly within Linux. However, this might introduce latency and other issues, depending on how well the game is rated for running through this compatibility layer. This comes with the Steam client on Linux, so you can use it straight on the get-go. While a bunch of free stuff exists out there, you cannot expect all of it to replace the proprietary software you use. This is why I highly recommend you set up a Windows VM to use if you absolutely need something and it does not work on Linux. Even if you don't use it much, it's very handy to have, in my opinion. But your PC needs to be powerful and capable enough to run VMs. You need 8 GB of RAM as a minimum if you want a fairly comfy experience, and an SSD would be preferable if you're concerned about speed and performance. And VMs are not always the answer to running Windows software in Linux. Many demanding applications and games need access to physical hardware and resources, so using a VM is not going to let you run your favorite games or software in all cases, but all things considered, it is a handy way of running your Windows software nonetheless, and can provide a safe testing environment for running applications you don't necessarily trust. So if the VM gets compromised, at least your main system, which in this case would be Linux, would not become compromised or damaged. In the next part of this series, we are going to install Linux Mint and set it up for a first-time use. Just to show you noobs how to get started on your Linux journey, I will be doing this in a VM, but you can install it on physical hardware, if you're planning on putting it onto a real PC, and after installing it, I will then make another video which will succeed that one, in which we will install some basic applications on Linux, using the software store. These will be things like browsers, office suites, media players, and other basic applications. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye for now.